So today we're talking about rhetorical devices, and these are different devices you can employ in writing that are used to enhance sound, memory, and understanding. So the things I'm about to show you will add to the sound of your writing, especially with speeches or informational text, and it'll help people remember what you say. That's why these are often used in speeches, because people do not have a text in front of them to read over and over, and they need to remember certain lines from the speech. These devices help with that. And they also make it easier to understand. They make things clearer for the audience. So here are a few different rhetorical devices you can use. First is the rhetorical question, which you all probably already know about. It asks a question and the answer is obvious or implied. So usually this is a question that you don't expect an actual answer to, or that the answer seems very obvious. And it's used mostly to almost have the listener or the reader be forced to agree with whatever the author is saying, because it asks a question that the answer seems obvious. When you answer that question yourself, it seems like you agree with that person. Let me give you an example. So this is a quote by John D. Rockefeller, and let's listen to him say it real quick.
Do you want to see the flower of the manhood of this country, which has brought everlasting glory to our nation, neglected in the hour of its greatest need, and a prey to fierce temptation?
Alright, so you see that this question, do you want to see the flower of the manhood of this country, basically neglected. So what this is saying, he's asking if you basically want to see the country be in trouble, and obviously the answer to that is no. So it's implied that whatever he's going to say would fix that is something you would also agree with. Moving on to parallelism. We've talked about parallelism before when talking about thesis statements, but this is also a rhetorical device. So in parallelism, you have successive words, phrases, or clauses with the same or very similar grammatical structure, like we said before. Here's an example. And this is one that George Bush gave soon after 9/11. So let me let you listen to that one as well.
We have seen the state of our union in the endurance of rescuers working past exhaustion. We've seen the unfurling of flags, the lighting of candles, the giving of blood, the saying of prayers in English, Hebrew, and Arabic.
Alright, so you see here there's lots of places where parallelism is used. You have the unfurling of flags, lighting of candles, and giving of blood. So in these phrases, you all see the same verb, preposition, noun, structure over and over. And it even goes deeper in that. But you can see that using it the same way every single time really enhances the sound. If he had said it a different way, like we've seen flags unfurled, the lighting of candles, and some people gave blood, that wouldn't have made as big of an impact as using this parallelism here. It sounds a whole lot better. It's much more memorable. Our next one is repetition. So this is pretty easy. You repeat a word or phrase for emphasis. So this is like in the I Have a Dream speech. I have a dream was said over and over there, which made it so memorable. So we can listen to a clip of that as well.
I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
So you can see in that one, and that's just a small excerpt, but I have a dream is repeated over and over, and that's one of the reasons why it became such a famous speech. This repetition made it easy to remember and easy for others to carry the message across to other people. After that, we have analogy. So analogy is basically an extended metaphor or simile, and a comparison is made between two things. But the difference between an analogy and a metaphor or simile is that this comparison is made for the purpose of furthering a line of reasoning. Let's look at an example to try to figure out what I mean by that. So this is kind of a long example. This is General David Petraeus talking about a mission in Afghanistan. Let's take a look at this one.
Along with you and other members of this committee, Mr. Chairman, I recognize that enduring success in Afghanistan will require the development of Afghan national security forces in sufficient numbers and sufficient quality. This is, of course, hugely important and hugely challenging. Indeed, helping to train and equip host nation forces in the midst of an insurgency is akin to building an advanced aircraft while it is in flight, while it is being designed, and while it is being shot at.
Alright, so you can see here it cut off before the end, but it was going to say there is nothing easy about it. So what this comparison is, he's comparing this mission to building a plane in midair while it's being designed, while it's being shot at. And he continues by saying there's nothing easy about it. So this comparison is not just descriptive of what's going on, it's a comparison meant to explain a certain aspect of the mission in order to describe it and let people know how it's the same. So analogy is very useful in trying to explain or reason out any main point you might have. You can compare it to something else to help you explain that. And next we have hyperbole, and you all should know this one as well. Hyperbole is purposeful exaggeration. So this is the worst day ever. You all say that a lot. An example of hyperbole. Here's another one, an example in a speech, and we can take a listen to this one.
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
So in this quote, the only thing I have to fear is fear itself. Obviously that is an exaggeration. It makes a great point, and it's trying to comfort the nation and does make a good point in that way, but when you take it literally, it's an exaggeration. And so that shows an example of hyperbole. So remember that all of these things can be used in not only speeches like you see here, but also in lots of kinds of persuasive, argumentative, or just regular informational texts to help you get your point across and make your point memorable, make your arguments very pointed, and draw attention to your good reasoning.